So this is actually very serious, because this could be the start of a ramp up of violence by Trump supporters as we approach Inauguration Day for President-elect Joe Biden. As I mentioned earlier, there was another one of these million MAGA marches in D.C. this weekend. This time, the Trump supporters, the Proud Boys, the white supremacists, they were actually starting to get violent, setting fires to Black Lives Matter banners, including at churches, getting into stabbing fights, multiple arrests. We'll talk about it more on the bonus show. But what I really want to focus on today is not that part, because we'll get to that a little bit later, but rather how this is all part of a building Republican civil war between factions of the right. You've got the crazy right and the really crazy right that are kind of battling. And one of the chants that was heard this weekend in Washington, D.C. at this march was destroy the GOP, destroy the Republican Party. And the reasons that different Trumpists are mad at Republicans are numerous and wide-ranging. It's actually funny. Different elements of the Trump cult are mad at the Republican Party or Republicans, but for different reasons that sometimes conflict. It's a comedy of errors, but one that could have real repercussions over the next few years and election cycles. Some Trumpists are mad at the Republican Party because some Republican officials like Brian Kemp in Georgia haven't been willing to overtly try to steal the election for Donald Trump, and they're furious at Brian Kemp. They're furious at Brad Raffensperger, the Secretary of State in Georgia, and so on. Others are mad at the Republican Party because they're mad that the right-wing Supreme Court justices refused to hear a completely bogus lawsuit about non-existent voter fraud. So some of the ire is there. And why don't you Republicans do more to hold these people accountable? Apparently not understanding how the Supreme Court works. Other Trump cultists are mad at Fox News because Fox News acknowledges that Joe Biden won, at least during like the daytime programming on their network. So this is interesting stuff. Here is a guy introducing another guy named Nick Fuentes, who's from one of these like extra radical pro-Trump wings of the right, saying right wingers like Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro essentially aren't radical enough. And in fact, now I'm questioning, I don't know if Nick Fuentes is still part of a pro-Trump right or if they've separated. It's a complete and total mess. But listen to what was said here.
Ben Shapiro does not believe in America first. Yeah, he started the Never Trump movement. Ben Shapiro is a subversive.
So now Ben Shapiro is too far left, I guess partially because Ben Shapiro was anti-Trump. It's initially, even though Ben Shapiro voted for Trump, and then out comes Nick Fuentes himself, and he gets a destroy the Republican Party chant going.
In the first million MAGA March, we promised that if the GOP would not do everything in their power to keep Trump in office, then we would destroy the GOP. And as we gather here in Washington, D.C. for a second million MAGA March, we're done making promises. It has to happen now. We are going to destroy the GOP.
So, of course, in thinking about the future of the Republican Party, there's like an actual academic discourse to be had about the future of the two-party system and the future of the Republican Party within that, and changing demographics and how that might influence things, and gerrymandering and redistricting. But then there's sort of like this other question mark, which is if Trump remains really visible after leaving office, that will have a very different effect on these subgroups in the Republican Party than if Trump disappears from view. And we won't know that for a few weeks. There could be a big reconciliation among the right, and all of these elements come back together. This is not an irreversible grudge that we are seeing. If Trump leaves, all of these groups may quickly realize, hey, what we really hate is the left, and they'll be back together in no time. On the other hand, if Donald Trump remains visible once he's out of office and continues weaponizing the cultists against other aspects of the Republican Party, this could continue for some time. Remember what Lindsey Graham said, I guess it was 4 or 5 years ago now, if we nominate Trump, we will get destroyed and we will deserve it. Maybe Looney Lindsey really was onto something there, and it would be great if this did end up throwing the Republican Party into such chaos that they implode for a few election cycles. I do think we should encourage it. I mean, why not foment the feeling when you're talking to traditional Republicans that these Trumpists are making them look insane. And then when you're talking to the Trumpists, foment the idea that these traditional Republicans clearly aren't committed to their movement and they've betrayed them on this election issue. I think it's an absolutely great idea. But to really know what the future of this is going to be, we have to see what happens after the Biden inauguration. How visible does Trump remain, and sort of go from there. I don't think we'll really know whether the Republican Party is gearing up for a sustained civil war until it's more clear what role, if any, Trump will have within the Republican Party after January 20th. So we will wait for that. And after the break, I will tell you all about what is taking place today to make that inauguration of Joe Biden an inevitable reality via the official vote of the Electoral College. A lot of the shirts you see me wearing on YouTube are actually made by a company called Teddy Stratford. I love these shirts, and that's why I asked them to be a sponsor of the show. It really is the most innovative shirt you can buy, because most slim fit button-up shirts give you this weird stretched out gap in the chest where the buttons are. You don't get that with the Teddy Stratford shirts, because all of their shirts come with a patented zipper hidden beneath the buttons, which prevents the chest from stretching apart like that. But most importantly, just overall, it makes the shirt fit much better and look better. The carefully designed shirt is also cut in a way that improves the look of your upper body physique. It has a really nice, elegant, close fit that other shirts don't really give you. It also has a specially designed collar that won't fall down and lay flat, which I love. The difference all around with these shirts really is noticeable. Go check them out at davidpakman.com/Teddy. The link is down below, and they'll give you 15% off your first order if you use the coupon code PAKMAN at checkout.